back to my kitchen. This is Lynn Wilson. Thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to share a moment with me. And I just want to thank you also for stopping by and visiting my pantry tour and my stockpile videos. They've been a success, and I'm really grateful that you guys are stopping over and visiting. And hopefully what I've learned and I can share with you, maybe you'll learn a few tips. And if you have some better tips than what I've shared with you, then please share them back with me. I'd love to hear in the comments below. So I am so excited, and I forgot to include you guys in on an unboxing that I did, but let me explain what happened. So I've been trying to build up my stockpile, build up my pantry, and do long-term storage. And long-term storage to me has always been maybe 6 months, but at this point I want to get better at doing like maybe up to a 5-6 year storage in things. I've been given a lot of things like rice and beans and pancake mix and flour and yada yada yada, but I don't want to just like stick it on the shelf and it go buggy or get old or whatever. So I decided, I saw some people use a FoodSaver, and they got their canning jars out and they preserved it and took the air out, and I thought, oh, I want to do that. I found that to be, in my mind, easier than using oxygen absorbers. But I pulled out my FoodSaver and I haven't used it in ages. Kind of one of those things that I used it for years and years and years and got out of it, and I thought, let me pull it back out. It wouldn't work. I did everything. I YouTubed it. I went into the manual. I looked up what I needed to do. It was done. It was fried. And I went on YouTube to look up my model to see how to use it again, and maybe I wasn't using it right, so on. Well, needless to say, my model was so old nobody even has a YouTube video on it. So with all that to say, I went to my husband and I said, I want to do this. What can we do? So we had enough points, and I was able to get a new FoodSaver for free. I think I paid $1.15 in the end. But anyway, I'll link the one in the description below that I got on Amazon in case you're interested. It's not a fancy one. It's basic, it's plain and simple, easy to use, and that's what I want. So that's here, and we're going to be putting our food in jars. As you can see, they're sealed. The top is down as if I had canned it in a canner, and I'll explain all that in a second. But if you went on with me on my pantry tour, you saw that I stored rice and beans and things like that in a cooler. Let me show you. I brought it in the kitchen so you can see. So in the cooler, I've got tons of beans. Can you see in here at all? Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so I've got, these are navy beans. I have yellow lentil. Oh no, these are split peas. I have lentils. I have more rice and more beans and kidney beans and more rice, and I am thrilled that this has been provided. But from what I understand, bags like this and this, you can store easily for 2 years. Other people say you can store forever. Well, I wouldn't go as far as that, but the gist of it is 2 years on this. If you use the bags, can you hand me the roll of those? Yeah, the loose roll's good, thank you. So if you use the seal bags that you put in here, and you would seal it and they shrink it all up in here, you like that sound effect? In here, I hear that, okay, this is 2 years, this is 5 years. Okay, so that's good too. Whoop. But one of the reasons I like to put the stuff in the cooler is because of critters. We live, our whole back area of our house is woods, and the whole side is woods, so we get the field mice. We don't have a ton of problems. We usually get like 1 or 2 each season, the spring, and then in the fall, late fall, when it starts getting cold, they want a warm place. But even still, I just didn't like the idea of like rice and beans being left out, and they would nibble on the package possibly. I don't know, I've not had that happen, but now that I'm thinking of more stockpiling and storage, I wanted something like a glass jar that I wouldn't have to worry about it. So, look at this, here's the seal, right? That is, come up close here so you can see. All right, see that? The pop, the top has popped. Okay, so one of those impulse buys, did anybody else do that? Leave a comment below if you did. During the pandemic, when it first happened, I'm watching people, and you got to get flour, you got to get, and I'm thinking, oh, what do I need? Should I be getting stuff? No, I'm okay. No, maybe I'm not okay. I'm finding that's one of the reasons I don't like to watch people that panic and people that are on the news and Facebook, and even some YouTubers to me are getting like, I'm not saying things weren't bad, but like, don't get so dramatic, because then you stir the pot, you stir fear, and I should know better. I should have prayed about it. I should have asked the Lord what I needed. But bottom line is, I did do some impulse buying, and I bought this because somebody recommended it. Instead of flour, you could get Indian head cornmeal mix. Now, I used to use this. We used to do corn dogs and a bunch of stuff. I usually buy Jiffy cornbread mix, and I add a can of cream corn to it, and I make my cornbread that way. I bought this. Well, now we have it, so we can make cornbread, and we can make pancake and waffle mix and seasoning fish breading, and I don't know what else I'm going to make with this, but I didn't want to throw it out. I'm not ready to use it. I don't know why I even bought it, and I don't know anyone that needs it. So, with all that to say, I can store this on the shelf, and it'll probably go buggy because it'll take me a year and a day to use it all up. I could store it in the freezer, but then it was one of those things I put in the freezer, I took out of the freezer because I needed room. So maybe you're like me where it's like, what do I do with some of this stuff? So I watched, and they said if you buy anything like pancake mix, flour, not beans and rice, but your pancake mix, your flours, anything like that, maybe oatmeal, grits, that kind of stuff, you should put in your freezer for 24 to 48 hours. Living on a Dime recommends 24 hours. She says that's good. If you see little black flakes or black flecks, which there was none in here, that could be a sign of those unwanted bugs or the beginnings of. Now, if you left it on your shelf, you're going to see those little wormy things. I had a box of cream of wheat someone gave to me. The expiration date was way over there. And I said, oh, good. And I thought, well, let me pour it into a container. I don't like leaving it in the box. When I poured it into the container, I showed my husband there were 2 worms in it. Like, my stomach now is just turning. It's a fact of life, but you don't want to see this. Now, this is something that the expiration date was way over there. It wasn't even close to expiring. But it just goes to show you it can happen. So if you're going to do any preserving in jars like I am, put your stuff in the freezer for 24 hours at least. It kills all that off if there is anything. This has been in the freezer. I usually put my flour in, and here's what I did. My flour, I already put it in the freezer. I put it in a plastic bag just so that, because it's, you know, it's a paper bag that they come in just in case anything got wet. So this expires December 2nd, 2020. We're fine, expiration date, but again, I probably won't use it. So now what I've done is I've put it in a glass jar. It's preserved from any bugs getting in it. I'm going to label the date and what it is. It's preserved, and I can reseal this. If I use a little bit, I can reseal it. So if we put it in, if it's in a bag like this, which that's in a paper bag, so this would last till December. So this is about a year's expiration. This would be 2 years. They say this is 5 years if you put them in these bags. This, to me, is foolproof of mice or anything getting into it. It's been in the freezer, so I don't have to worry about bugs. There is no air in there. I've taken all the air out, so they say this can be preserved for now 20 years. I don't know that I want to use cornmeal that's 20 years old, but you get the idea of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm going to be preserving. I have tons of rice. We are not heavy rice eaters. I do enjoy a fried rice and a few other recipes, but I don't want to get rid of it because rice was hard to find. You know, this is food. This is real food that in time we will eat. I've got plenty of beans. I don't know whether I'll eat all these beans or not, but you know what? I can preserve them. I can use them in soups. I want to learn how to make my own homemade baked beans, and I want to can that. Bean soup, rice and beans, I don't really know. I'm not a bean person. I didn't grow up on that, but I would like to explore using beans because it is a good protein. But 2 years, 5 years, 2 years bag, 5 years bag, 20 years. I think we'll go with the 20. So I'm going to show you, I'm learning, so I'm not an expert, but I want to show you how I learned how to do it. So I have a clean mason jar, all right? I have one of my little funnels, I don't know what you call it, for canning. Oop. Okay. And then I'm going to put, they say give an inch headspace. So I'm going to pour this in here. And let's see how we're doing. All right, that's pretty good. Now, the other thing is, you got to clean your rim, just dust it off because you don't want any debris on there that would hinder the seal. And you also want to check, you always want, if you're not a canner and you are not usually using these jars, you do want to rub your finger around the top. You don't want any chips on that because it won't seal right. So we're going to put our flat lid on there, and then we're going to put our ring. So you put that on here, put the ring, and I ordered the set. You get 2 of these. Okay, this one is for, they call this one is the wide mouth. This is a big one. And then we grab this one so you can see it. That one is a smaller one, and I don't know what they call that, but anyway, that's the smaller one. I know the other one's called a wide mouth. So let me show you some of these jars. These are nice big jars. So this is great for my flour, sugar, maybe the pancake mix. Things that flour, you go through a big amount. So those I'm going to put in jars like that. In this one could be for beans. And then this size or even smaller would be good for stuff like this cornmeal that I don't have a lot of. And you don't want to put it in a big jar and waste the jar. So, okay. So this is called a FoodSaver. I don't know if you're familiar with it. So you can put these plastic bags in and use that separately in here, but I ordered the set of using these for the jars specifically. So right now we're going to use our wide mouth attachment, and you basically do the same thing, push the same buttons that you would if you were going to seal it in the bags, but we're going to seal it in the jar. So I'm going to show you how, actually we don't need the rim. I don't know why I just did that. So you only put the flat one on. All right, and then you get your accessory cord. And there's a thing on here, and I'll show you a close-up picture later in the video. It's called the accessory port, and you put that in there. Then there's a lock on the side here. And again, I'll show you some close-up pictures of this later so you can see, but you're going to lock that, and that seals this tight. Then we're going to take the wide mouth accessory piece. We're going to put that on the jar, and it should fit snug. See that? Nice and snug. Then we're going to put the other piece of the cord in here, and it goes in pretty easy. And then you hit vacuum seal on here, and you're going to hear a funny noise, and then it's going to change sounds, and you're going to see the lights blink. And when it's done, this cord actually sort of unravels a little, and then the seal will go off, and then we know we're ready. And I'll show you, hopefully it takes the seal. So this is real TV here, so if it doesn't take, you're going to see it, and if it does, you're going to see that too. So just hold your ears for a minute. You can hear it starting to change, okay? The seal light is on, so let's give that a second to go off. I hear it ticking. Okay, they both went off. Now when I take this off, you should hear sort of a psst sound. Did you hear that? Okay, let's take the lid off here. And the pop, I don't know what you call it, I always say the pop top, because it, when you can these little, they ping, and that means it's sealed. So yeah, there we go. All right, you saw me put the lid on that, so that's nicely sealed. So I now have, where's my other jar? I have 2 jars sealed, and I have, I'm guessing about a jar, maybe a little extra. So I'll probably get 3 to 4 jars of just this alone. Again, I'm going to label the date, label what it is, and then I'll save the instructions. and I'll just put that in my cookbook, scrapbook, so when I go to do this I can say, oh, what do I do? How do I make this? I could always Google the name, I'm sure, and find other ingredients and instructions of what to do for these recipes. But anyway, I just thought I would show you this. So I'm going to be working in my kitchen. I really wish I could invite some of you guys over. I'd love to have friends in the kitchen, and you know, we could share stories and have a cup of coffee together and chit chat and have some girl time, because I'm going to be canning, for the lack of a better word, canning and sealing my beans, my rice, my lentils, my other beans, my flour, my brown sugar, my confectionate sugar, my regular sugar. I don't know. If it doesn't move, I might be canning it. So we don't know what we're going to end up with. But I hope this gives you a little insight to maybe an alternative. This machine was about, was it $85, Graham? I think it was about $85. I could not afford that right now, but because I had points saved, I was able to get it, and I think I had enough points less the $1.15 I had to pay. So this was a free gift to me in a sense, but it is something that I will use all the time. I want to get back into this. If anything, I'm just going to be using it for this. To me, it was well worth it. So leave me a comment below if you have this, if you use it. What else do you can with your FoodSaver? I'd be curious. Do you use the bags? Do you use the jars? What do you put in the jars? You know, what do you like better? I'm learning. I'm new to this, and I would love some insight from you guys. So thanks for stopping by. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll catch you on the next video.